Welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're going to be hopping into a time machine.
Oh, cool.
We're setting the dial for the year 2054.
Wow.
And, you guys have sent us these transcripts from this really fascinating Japanese podcast called
Oh, yeah.
Aburi Saba Radio,
Love that name.
which translates to Grilled Mackerel Radio,
Okay.
hosted by Hideki and Mayumi.
Sounds fun.
So we're going to be exploring their predictions for the future and kind of seeing what clues we can glean about how we might actually get to this future.
It's always so interesting, to peek into the future, and especially through I guess, a distinctly Japanese lens.
Right.
They seem to always be kind of ahead of the curve when it comes to, like, tech and culture trends.
Mm-hmm.
So their predictions could be really valuable, I think, for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump in right away.
Okay.
Both Hideki and Mayumi are pretty convinced that by 2054, AI is going to be like a constant companion, almost like a support system woven into every aspect of life.
Yeah, and Mayumi even compares AI to, like, a camera that's constantly capturing information.
Oh, wow.
Which I think is a really striking comparison because it kind of suggests that it's going to be so ubiquitous
Right.
that it really raises some big questions about, data privacy and control in this future.
Right.
If AI is always watching, who owns that information? How is it being used?
Right.
I think these are things we should all start thinking about now
Absolutely.
as AI starts to, take on a larger role in our own lives.
Yeah, for sure. So that is a little unsettling.
Yeah.
But let's move on to something a bit more appetizing.
Okay.
Mayumi is clearly a foodie. And she paints a picture of a future where plant-based protein sources really take center stage.
Oh, cool.
But even when she's talking about vegan options, she emphasizes the importance of texture.
Right.
She's saying how crucial the feel of food is to really enjoying it.
That's really interesting to me because it really speaks to how much of our eating experience is kind of tied to our psychology and sensory perception.
Right.
And, as food technology advances,
Yeah.
think about how this might change, like, your relationship with food.
Right.
Would you be open to, like, lab-grown meat or entirely new food sources if they could perfectly replicate, like, the taste and the texture
Right.
of, the dishes that you're familiar with?
Yeah, that's a good question. So maybe by 2054?
Yeah.
They've cracked the code on, vegan steaks that feel just like the real deal.
Exactly.
So this next prediction is where things get a little bit whimsical.
Okay.
Mayumi dreams of living in a Barbarella-style house.
Okay.
All rounded and futuristic, almost like something out of, a science fiction movie. And she even mentions that there are real-world examples of this architectural style already popping up in places like Chile and southern France.
I didn't know that that's so cool.
Yeah, and what's even more interesting
Okay.
is that Mayumi has built a miniature version of this dream home in her own garden.
Oh, wow.
So she's not just imagining this future.
Right.
She's actively trying to create it.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
It really does suggest that, maybe this future is more attainable than we think.
Yeah.
But, like, what does this, dream home say about, like, broader trends in architecture and living spaces in 2054?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think it really hints at a future where personalization and self-expression are, imagine a world where, like, cookie-cutter houses are a thing of the past.
Right.
And you can really design a home that reflects your own personality
Yeah.
and your own values.
Right.
And how might that impact the way we think about, like, communities and urban planning?
Yeah. That's a fascinating idea. So
Yeah.
to prepare for a little bit of a leap here.
Okay.
Because Mayumi jumps from architecture to something completely different.
Right.
Self-healing concrete.
What?
Apparently, some Japanese companies are developing this technology using microbes.
It sounds so futuristic, but it's actually based on a very natural process.
Well-
And what I find really interesting about this is that it suggests a future where we're not just, like, fighting against nature.
Right.
We're actually learning to work with it
Yeah.
to solve problems. And then Mayumi even connects this to something you might not expect at all.
Okay.
UFOs.
But how do those two things connect?
Well, she mentions reading a book that suggests that maybe microbes might hold the key to how UFOs fly.
Oh, wow.
Just definitely a speculative connection.
Right.
But it speaks to her kind of playful curiosity and willingness to explore these unconventional ideas.
Yeah, I love that she's making these unexpected connections,
Me too.
even if they might sound a little bit out there at first.
Right.
It definitely keeps things interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
So speaking of thinking outside the box, Mayumi also has a unique take on veganism.
Okay.
She appreciates the creativity involved in finding new ways to satisfy her cravings, but admits to finding the intense activism at a German vegan festival a bit overwhelming.
It's so interesting because it raises the question about the evolution of like social movements. Sometimes you need that more radical approach
Right.
to like disrupt the status quo and really push for change.
Right.
But then how do we balance that need for disruption with the importance of creating a movement that's inclusive
Right.
and welcoming to everyone?
Yeah, it's a tough balance.
It is.
So we've got AI companions, Barbarella-style homes, self-healing concrete, even a dash of UFO speculation.
I love it.
What else does this future hold? So what's kind of standing out to you as we piece together this vision of 2054?
Well, I'm noticing a strong thread of sustainability running through a lot of their predictions.
Oh, interesting. Okay, give me an example.
So when Mayumi talks about, developing her land, she's very focused on minimizing environmental impact.
Yeah.
She even mentions the term permaculture,
Okay.
which is all about designing, sustainable and self-sufficient ecosystems.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's like she's thinking about how to create a way of life that works in harmony with nature,
Exactly.
not against it.
Yeah, and permaculture principles.
Yeah.
They really focus on things like using renewable resources, reducing waste,
Right.
building systems that can kind of sustain themselves over the long term.
Yeah.
Imagine applying those principles not just to your garden,
Right.
but to your entire lifestyle.
Yeah, it's a whole new way of thinking about how we live and interact with the world around us.
It is.
And it makes you wonder what kind of jobs will be important in this more sustainable future.
That's a good question. Well, Hideki predicts that even with the rise of AI jobs related to programming and IT, will still be in high demand in 2054.
That makes sense. I mean, AI is going to need people who can design it and build it and maintain it.
Right.
But what about the concern that AI will eventually just take over a lot of the jobs that humans do now?
Well, interestingly, Hideki doesn't see AI as a replacement for human workers. He sees it as a tool that will actually enhance certain skills and create new opportunities.
So it's more about humans and AI working together,
Exactly.
each kind of contributing their own unique strengths.
Right. But he also raises the concern that relying too heavily on AI could lead to a decline in critical thinking skills.
That's interesting.
It's a really thought-provoking point.
Yeah.
If we become too dependent on AI to do our thinking for us,
Right.
what happens to our own ability to analyze information, solve problems, come up with creative solutions?
It's almost like a cautionary tale, reminding us to stay engaged and keep those mental muscles working,
For sure.
even in a world filled with, all this amazing technology.
Absolutely.
Okay, now let's talk about something a little more fun. Travel.
Okay.
Mayumi mentions wanting to travel to space in 2054,
Wow.
specifically to the moon.
Cool.
She's even talking about joining a space tour
Wow.
and wanting to travel with a female astronaut.
That's awesome. It's so fascinating how casual she is about it. It's like, it's just booking a weekend trip.
Right.
It really suggests that space travel might become much more accessible in the coming decades.
Right.
Maybe you'll be planning your own lunar vacation one day.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But what about Hideki? Does he have any grand travel plans for 2054?
His are a little bit more down to earth.
Okay.
He expresses a desire to visit his ancestral home in Wakayama Prefecture.
So while Mayumi's looking to the stars, Hideki's focusing on his roots.
Right.
It's a nice contrast.
It is.
It really shows that even in a future with space travel and, incredible technological advancements, we still value our connections to family and history.
Absolutely. It speaks to that enduring power of those personal connections,
Right.
no matter how much the world around us changes.
Yeah, I love that. So now let's shift gears a bit and talk about fashion.
Okay.
Mayumi predicts that people will be wearing more personalized clothing in 2054. Possibly even items created using 3D printing technology.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. And, that idea of personalized fashion really aligns with that vision of the Barbarella-style home. It really suggests a future where individual expression extends to every aspect of our lives, from the clothes we wear to the spaces we inhabit.
Yeah, imagine being able to design and print your own outfits.
Right.
Perfectly tailored to your style and your body type.
Yeah.
It would completely change the fashion industry as we know it.
It would. It's a fascinating possibility.
It is.
But it also raises questions about the sustainability of these technologies.
Of course.
How will we ensure that this drive for personalization doesn't come at the cost of the environment?
Right.
Will we be able to develop, like, eco-friendly 3D printing materials and processes?
Right.
I think these are things we need to start considering
Absolutely.
as we start to see these technologies kind of emerge in the coming years.
Yeah, for sure. We need to make sure that our progress is sustainable and doesn't create more problems down the line. So this next topic is something I'm personally very interested in: books.
Okay.
Mayumi believes that physical books will still have a special place in 2054,
Right.
even in a world that's dominated by digital media.
Wow.
Yeah, she talks about the tactile experience of turning physical pages as something irreplaceable.
Mm-hmm.
And she even mentions preferring to write notes in physical notebooks.
Yeah.
I mean, it speaks to that enduring appeal of tangible objects,
Right.
the way they engage our senses and create a different kind of connection than we get from digital formats.
Totally. I mean, there's something special about holding a physical book.
Yes.
Feeling the weight of it, the texture of the paper.
Absolutely.
You just don't get that with a digital book.
No, you don't. And it's interesting to consider how those different experiences might shape the way we process information.
Right.
And connect with stories.
Yeah. Do we absorb information differently when we read it on a screen versus on a printed page?
Mm.
Do we form different kinds of emotional connections with the material? These are questions worth pondering
Absolutely.
as we navigate this, evolving world of media and technology.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's switch gears again and talk about social connections.
Okay.
Hideki expresses some concern about the potential for increased social isolation in 2054,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the rise of virtual communication.
Yeah.
He worries that people might become increasingly detached from their communities
Right.
and lose the ability to interact face-to-face in a meaningful way.
It's a valid concern.
It is.
As technology makes it easier to connect virtually,
Mm-hmm.
are we losing those vital in-person interactions
Mm-hmm.
that are so important for building strong relationships
Right.
and strong communities?
Yeah, it's definitely something to be mindful of. We need to make sure that technology enhances our connections,
Mm-hmm.
not replaces them altogether.
Right. And Mayumi even echoes this sentiment
Okay.
when she mentions missing the warmth and personal touch of handwritten letters.
Yeah, there's something special about receiving a handwritten note. Knowing that someone took the time to sit down and write something specifically for you.
Right.
It's a gesture that conveys a level of care and thoughtfulness that's often missing in the fast-paced world of digital communication.
Totally. And it makes you wonder, in this future, where technology is constantly evolving and pushing us toward, more efficient ways of communicating.
Yeah.
What will happen to those slower, more deliberate forms of connection?
Right.
Will we make a conscious effort to preserve them? Or will they just fade away as relics of the past?
It's a really thought-provoking question. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Everything from sustainable living and the future of work to space travel fashion and the enduring appeal of books.
It's been a journey.
Where do we go from here in this exploration of 2054?
As we move into the final part of our deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time to delve into some of the more introspective and philosophical predictions that they share, the ones that really make us think about the meaning of life
All right.
and our place in the universe.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's dive into those deeper thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we've been exploring all the exciting advancements and possibilities of 2054,
Right.
but now I'm ready to explore the more philosophical side of their predictions.
Yeah, well, Mayumi talks about the importance of connecting with our inner selves
Okay.
through practices like meditation.
Right.
She believes that this will be even more crucial in 2054 as the world becomes increasingly complex and fast-paced.
That makes sense. With all this amazing technology and constant stimulation, taking time for introspection and self-reflection could be vital for staying grounded
Right.
and maintaining a sense of balance.
Exactly. And she links this idea to the concept of slow living,
Okay.
which is a movement that emphasizes simplifying your life, slowing down,
Right.
and appreciating the present moment.
Yeah, in a future that seems to be speeding up in so many ways.
Right.
It's interesting that she highlights the value of slowing down.
It is. It's almost like a counter movement
Yeah.
to all the advancements that we've been discussing.
Right. It's a reminder that technology and progress don't always have to be about going faster and doing more. Sometimes it's about finding peace and contentment in the simple things.
Absolutely. Now get ready for this next one.
Okay.
Because it's a big one.
All right, I'm ready.
Hideki predicts that by 2054, our understanding of the universe will have expanded significantly.
Wow.
He even suggests that we might discover evidence of extraterrestrial life.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. The possibility of extraterrestrial life is something that has always fascinated me.
And he doesn't stop there.
Okay.
Hideki suggests that future generations might even be able to communicate with these extraterrestrial beings.
Wow.
Perhaps even through telepathy.
Telepathy with aliens. That's NART-level stuff.
It is.
It's definitely a bold prediction, but it's so intriguing to think about the possibilities. What if we discover that we're not alone in the universe?
Right.
We can actually connect with other intelligent life forms.
It would change everything.
It would completely change our understanding of ourselves and our place in the cosmos.
It would be a paradigm shift.
Totally. Who knows, maybe by 2054, concepts that seem like science fiction now will be part of everyday reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this next prediction really resonated with me.
Okay.
Mayumi emphasizes the importance of following your own unique path in life, even if it means going against societal expectations.
Right.
She uses a beautiful phrase, Jibunjiku de ikiru,
Okay.
living according to your own axis.
I love that.
It's about staying true to your values, your passions, your own definition of success, even when the world around you is telling you to do something different.
I love that idea. In a world that often feels like it's trying to push us into predefined boxes, it's so important to remember that we have the power to create our own path, to define success on our own terms.
And it ties back to that thread of personalization and self-expression that we've seen running through so many of their predictions. It suggests that in this future, individuality and authenticity will be celebrated, and people will be empowered to break free from societal norms and carve out their own paths.
That's a future I can definitely get behind.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this incredible deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the biggest takeaway for you? What will you be thinking about long after this episode ends?
Well, the thing that struck me most is a sense of optimism that kind of permeates all of their predictions. They acknowledge the challenges we face, the potential downsides of technology, the importance of staying grounded. But ultimately, they see a future that's full of possibility.
Right.
It's a future where we can harness the power of innovation while staying connected to our humanity and to our planet.
It's inspiring, right?
It is.
Makes you want to go out and help create that future, to make their vision a reality.
Absolutely. And remember, this is just one possible future.
Right.
The future isn't set in stone. It's something we create day by day through our choices and our actions.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our journey to 2054.
Wow.
I hope you've enjoyed this unique glimpse into a possible future where AI companions, space travel, and self-healing concrete might just be everyday realities.
It's been amazing.
It's given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
And I'm sure it sparks some interesting thoughts for you as well.
I hope so.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time for another thought-provoking exploration.
Sounds good. All right, so let's dive into those deeper thoughts.
Okay.
It feels like we've been exploring all these exciting advancements and possibilities of 2054.
Right.
But I'm ready to kind of explore the more philosophical side of their predictions.
Yeah, Mayumi talks about the importance of connecting with our inner self.
Okay.
Through practices like meditation. And she believes that this will be even more crucial in 2054.
Right.
As the world becomes, increasingly complex and fast-paced.
Makes sense with all this amazing technology and constant stimulation.
Taking time for introspection and self-reflection could be really vital for staying grounded and maintaining a sense of balance.
Exactly. And she even links this idea to the concept of slow living.
Okay.
Which is a movement that emphasizes simplifying your life, slowing down.
Right.
Appreciating the present moment.
It's so interesting. In a future that seems to be speeding up in so many ways, that she highlights the value of slowing down.
It is. It's almost like a counter movement to all the advancements that we've been discussing.
Right. It's a reminder that technology and progress don't always have to be about going faster and doing more. Sometimes it's about finding that peace and contentment in the simple things.
For sure. Okay, so get ready for this next one.
Okay.
Because this is a big one.
All right.
Hideki predicts that by 2054, our understanding of the universe will have expanded significantly.
Wow.
He even suggests that we might discover evidence of extraterrestrial life.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. The possibility of extraterrestrial life has always fascinated me.
And he doesn't stop there.
Okay.
He suggests that future generations might even be able to communicate with these extraterrestrial beings,
Oh, wow.
perhaps even through telepathy.
Telepathy with aliens, that is next
Yeah,
level.
right.
It's a bold prediction, but it's so intriguing to think about
Right.
the possibilities. What if we discover that we're not alone in the universe
Mm-hmm.
and we can actually connect with other intelligent life forms?
It would change everything.
It would completely change our understanding of ourselves and our place in the cosmos.
It would be a complete paradigm shift.
Totally. And who knows, by 2054, concepts that seem like science fiction now
Right.
might be part of everyday reality.
Exactly. This next prediction from Mayumi really resonated with me.
Okay.
She emphasizes the importance of following your own unique path in life,
Mm-hmm.
even if it means going against societal expectations.
Right.
She uses this beautiful phrase, Jibunjiku te ikiru,
Okay.
living according to your own axis.
I love that.
It's about staying true to your values, your passions, your own definition of success,
Right.
even when the world around you is telling you to do something different.
I love that idea. In a world that often feels like it's trying to push us all into these predefined boxes,
Mm-hmm.
it's so important to remember that we have the power to create our own path and define success on our own terms.
Absolutely. And it really ties back to that thread of personalization and self-expression
Right.
that we've seen running through so many of their predictions. It suggests that in this future, individuality and authenticity
Mm-hmm.
will be celebrated.
Right.
And people will be empowered to break free from societal norms and carve out their own paths.
That's a future I can definitely get behind. So as we wrap up this incredible deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the biggest takeaway for you? What's something that you'll be thinking about long after this episode ends?
Well, the thing that really struck me most is the sense of optimism
Mm-hmm.
that kind of permeates all of Hideki and Mayumi's predictions.
Yeah.
They acknowledge the challenges that we face, the
Wow.
potential downsides of technology, the importance of staying grounded.
Right.
But they ultimately see a future that's full of possibility and hope.
Mm-hmm.
It's a future where we can harness the power of innovation while staying connected to our humanity
Right.
and to our planet.
It's inspiring, right?
It is.
It makes you want to go out and help create that future to make their vision a reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that this is just one possible future.
Right.
The future isn't set in stone.
Yeah.
Something that we create day by day through our choices and our actions.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our journey to 2054.
Wow.
I hope you've enjoyed this unique glimpse into a possible future where AI companions, space travel, and self-healing concrete might just be everyday realities. It's given me a lot to think about, and I'm sure it sparks some interesting thoughts for you as well. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time for another thought-provoking exploration.